स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। Okay, welcome everyone. We are studying from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10, the opulence of the absolute or the Vibhuti Yoga. Oh, Hare Krishna. Let's pay our obeisances to Shri Shri Radha Govinda before we go ahead. This is a summary of the chapter. We studied Krishna's position as the origin of everything. Then we also went through Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita last week. And this week we try to, I'll go a little fast, wrap up the chapter after the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna accepts, Arjuna accepts the Sambandha Gyan, Abhidhe Gyan and Prayojan Gyan. And then he becomes convinced of Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any questions in Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita? Did you get a chance to read it again?
Yes, Mataji. In fact, I was giving a class in my ISKCON Halifax on that. I did it for the first shloka. So I went through your videos again and again.
I don't have to go through my videos, but the understanding is more important. Very nice. Thank you. Share the class. We can hear it.
Okay, Mataji. It will be in ISKCON Halifax Facebook page. I shall share that.
Okay. So in this particular section, Arjuna accepts Krishna's position and requests to hear more of his opulences. This is a very famous verse. Arjuna Vacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve Devarshi Naradas Tatha Asitau Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. Arjun said, "You're the supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, absolute truth, eternal divine person. You are the primal God, transcendental and original. You are unborn, all-pervading beauty. All great sages such as Narad, Asita, Vyas, Devala proclaim you, Krishna. This of you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me." So Krishna, Arjun is in ecstasy. That's why he's repeating so many things again and again in this particular verse. So we understand that when somebody goes in ecstasy, they keep repeating the same thing over and over. This is what is happening to Arjun. Namanisha Prabhu once was teaching us this verse, and then he said Arjun is in ecstasy by hearing about Krishna's greatness. When after Krishna just finished about Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, how many of us have gone in ecstasy? So no one, right? It's because the pure devotee gets very, very like attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by hearing about his glories again and again. So let's garland Krishna. So Krishna, Arjuna is saying Param Brahma, or you are the supreme truth. Param Dham, ultimate abode. Pavitram, purest, untainted by material contamination. Paramam Bhavan, absolute truth. See again. Purusham, you're a person, supreme enjoyer. So you have all these qualities, so you're a person. So this actually Prabhupada writes in the purport of this verse, these two verses actually answer to Mayavad philosophers that God is in impersonal. God cannot be impersonal. He has so many qualities. Shashvatam, eternal, Divyam, transcendental. Adi Devam, original Lord. Ajam, unborn. Vibhum, greatest, accepted by all acharyas like Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyas. So what makes Arjun say that Asita, Devala, Vyas, and other Narad Muni, they're accepting him? What was the reason to say this by Arjun? Arjun could have just glorified Krishna's qualities. We'll come to it, let me finish. You yourself are declaring it to me. Another, I totally accept as truth. Neither demigods or demons can understand your personality. What is the truth that he's accepting? That actually nobody can understand you, Krishna. Whether it's a demigod or demon, only you can tell us who you are. Okay, so what is the need for Arjun to say this? Accepted by all acharyas.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I think when it comes in disciplic succession, especially by our acharyas, it can be considered bona fide. And because in the mood and the consciousness our acharyas serve, so when it is certified that they have been, it is coming through them and they have accepted it, so probably it makes more effect. That is my understanding, Mataji.
Thank you.
Could
So
be wrong. Hare
Arjun
Krishna.
is friends with Krishna. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, same point, Mataji, because Arjun is actually a friend of Krishna. So he doesn't want to show that, oh, as a friend, I'm telling you that you are the Supreme Personality. Is coming from the Vedic injunctions as well, from other,
Yeah.
seniors as well.
Correct. So Arjun is friends with Krishna. So a friend can praise another friend, right? So, but then, so okay, somebody can say that Arjun is friend of Krishna, so he's of course going to praise his friend. But Arjun is saying that it's not just me, it's the acharyas saying the same thing. And now you're also telling me the same thing. So it's not that I'm just imagining everything, it is really there that you have all these qualities. That Krishna is indeed Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. Try to memorize this verse. The verse is very empowering. Krishna. So he continues, Sarvam etam ritadmanye yanmam vadasi keshava nahi bhagwan vyaktim vidur deva na danavaha. Oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither gods or demons, oh Lord, know thy personality. So he's again, like, because he's in ecstasy, he's repeating the same thing which he said in the verse before. That Krishna, the faithless or demoniac people, or even the demigods, the other extreme, cannot actually understand who you are. But I am able to understand because you have very kindly explained to me who you are. This is the difference between Krishna consciousness and material consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, we like to hear about Krishna from Krishna. We like to, when Krishna tells us that Krishna is, I'm so great, I'm the God, I live in your heart, I have manufactured, like I'm the source of all that is chara and achara, moving and non-moving. But in the material consciousness, if somebody starts talking about their greatness, it becomes very dry. Why? Because it is not nourishing to the soul. Krishna nourishes the soul. Okay, Krishna is not interested in our material situation at all. That is why that is how, and that is why he's available to one and all. In the material world, we are interested in the bodily designation or concept. We're not interested in the soul most of the time or all the time. There's so many marketplaces across the world. How many of them are telling that I'm not the body, I'm the soul? So many Amazon or so many, online marketplaces or physical marketplaces or so many places we go to, so many cars. How many of those places or things are telling us we are not the body, we are the soul? How many?
None, Mataji.
Not even one.
Yeah, so you see, that doesn't nourish the soul. That is why one person becomes very tired and then old. We grow old, right? Because of this kind of energy that we imbibe from the material nature. But Krishna has no interest. So unless and until we are connecting someone at the soul level with Krishna in the center, we'll never be able to connect with anybody. That's why Krishna consciousness, you go to preach Krishna consciousness, you already have a connection with the person you're preaching. You are already because you're looking at yourself as part and parcel of Krishna, and you're looking at the other person as part and parcel of Krishna. If you ever have an experience of going on book distribution on the street, meeting random strangers that you don't know anything about, and talking to them about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is instant connection that we both are actually part of Krishna. And then Krishna, somehow gives this potency to the book distributor that go on. Because you're following the orders of the acharyas, no? You're not alone. Material world, we are alone, very alone. So we have to accept that Krishna talking about himself is the sweetest thing ever, because this is nourishing my soul. My soul needs it. Okay. So then he continues, Swayam eva atmanam atmanam. How do you say that? Evatmana anatmanam. I always mess this word up. Swayam eva atmanam atmanam. Swayam eva atmana atmanam. Okay. Swayam eva atmana atmanam. Vettatvam purushottama. Bhuta bhava bhutesha. Deva deva jagatpate. So he's in so much ecstasy. He's calling Krishna with so many names. This is one verse in Bhagavad Gita where Arjuna has taken more than one name of Krishna in one verse. There are few verses in first chapter where Arjuna has addressed Krishna with a lot of names in one verse. Generally, Krishna is addressing Arjuna with a lot of names in one verse, like Partha or Kaunteya, right? So, but it's not the vice versa that much. But 10:15 is one verse where Krishna has been addressed by so many names. Indeed, you alone, you know yourself by your own potencies, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, the Supreme Person, Lord of the universe. So, Vekta Tvam Purushottama. He's calling him Purushottama, which is Lord of all, or Supreme Person, which is like a refute to Mayavad philosophy. But somebody, Prabhupada writes in the Prabhupada, may not be convinced that how he's a Supreme Person. Then he says Bhuta Bhavana. Bhuta Bhavana means Lord of all beings. Okay, somebody might not be convinced that how is he the father of all beings, and he's addressing it as Bhutesha. Bhutesha means controller. So, and then he says Deva Deva, or controller. How is he controller? He is even actually controlling the demigods. And then Jagatpate, he is actually the Lord of the entire universe. So there, Purushottama, Bhuta Bhavana, Bhuteshe, Deva Deva, Jagatpate. So 5 titles. Okay, because he's so happy. And then he continues to ask Krishna that how do did I miss 16th verse? No, right? I just said, did I miss 16th verse? I'm sorry, the one verse is missing. So I'll read it out. Please tell me in detail your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. Okay, so this is a way of asking question to a superior authority. It's not that you go and then sit on their face, ask a question. This is a way to ask the question that where are you coming from? If you read Srimad Bhagavatam and you see how Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions to Sukdev Goswami, he is actually building a context. And on what context? I was reading Chitraketu Pastime yesterday from 6th canto. I was appreciating that how Parikshit Maharaj has actually heard the pastime of Vritasura, and then he's saying, how is that demon become so, demon is sinful. He's doing all sinful activities all the time, but how has he become such a fixed devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? This is very bewildering to me. I request you to please explain it to me. You see, here also we see Arjun is asking Krishna a request, but he's not just asking on the face of Krishna. He's actually expressing his own standing, where he's coming from, what he has understood, and then he's saying, okay, please explain to me more and more and more. So Prabhupada writes in the purport of the 16th verse that Arjun has all the qualifications. What are the qualifications? He has personal experience, he has intelligence, and he has knowledge of who Krishna is. Personal experience, intelligence, knowledge. And then he says whatever else one might need to understand Krishna. but he's still asking Krishna, please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. I'll read 17 and 18 and I'll ask what makes Arjuna ask these questions or this request to Krishna. How should I meditate on you? In what various forms are you to be contemplated, O blessed Lord? Tell me again in detail, O Janardhan, Krishna, of your mighty potencies and glories, for I never tire of hearing your ambrosial words. So Krishna has already given a glimpse of his potencies before. So what makes Arjuna put this request again in front of Krishna? How should I meditate on you? Various forms you are to be contemplated.
Because as stated in, earlier, that Supreme Personality of Godhead is always covered in his Yoga Maya.
Okay. But Prabhupada writes he has all the intelligence, knowledge, and personal experience. And 16th verse mein. So
basically, Arjuna maybe is asking for us, sake of the common people.
Very nice.
He has the intelligence, but us, the Mudas, that we don't know. For our sake, he is asking.
Okay, very nice. Anyone else?
Yes, Mataji. And I think the next, in the 12th chapter, Krishna is going to reveal about Bhakti Yoga. So maybe this is like a step towards understanding.
It's also Bhakti.
Sorry, Mataji?
This is also Bhakti.
Yes, this is also Bhakti, but this is like getting a step closer, like maybe, step by step, we understand Krishna better.
I am afraid I'm not understanding what you mean.
Okay.
No, tell me. I want to understand.
No, Mataji, I was just trying. I was thinking that maybe, Arjuna is asking Krishna so that, Krishna always reveals, little by little. He does not reveal everything at once. So maybe Arjuna is making it more clear to us by asking these questions so that when we reach chapter number 12, we can understand it in a much more better way. That's what I was thinking, Mataji.
So there was one commentary that actually Bhagavad Gita is already over in four verses. Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita is actually over. But Krishna still speaks and Arjuna still speaks, so we can actually build on what we studied in 10.8 to 10.11. Those are the key verses. No, there's like is it like 3 Shloki Bhagavatam? Actually, there is 3 Shloki Bhagavad Gita also. In 15th chapter, we will study that. In 10th chapter, we have Chatush Shloki. In 15th chapter, we have 3 Shloki. But, and Bhagavatam also has Sambandha Gyan, Avidya Gyan, Prayojan Gyan, like that. I'm not understanding, Kirti Mataji, what you mean. But because every chapter is only about bhakti. Right? There is no mention of, okay, we are going to worship Krishna by Ashtanga Yoga, by Karma Yoga, by Jnana Yoga. So the question is direct. How should I meditate on you? Which is bhakti. Tell me again in detail, O Janardhan, of your mighty potencies and glories, for I never tire of hearing your ambrosial words. So that's bhakti. Don't make bhakti complicated. Bhakti means understanding Krishna, and that's what the question is. Arjuna is asking this for himself, yes, because once you've, even in the material world, when somebody loves someone, let's say a parent is loving their child, they want to know about their child again and again and again and again. What is my child doing? How are they living? What are the activities? Right. So, or if somebody loves someone, they want to know about them all the time, all the time, all the time. So this is an expression of Arjuna's love for Krishna. And also Arjuna is a Mahatma. Arjuna is a devotee. Devotee is no less than a Mahatma. So he wants others to get benefited as well. So he asks Krishna for others as well, especially the living entities who are in the bodily concept of life, who can't see Krishna as Arjuna is seeing. So he's asking, tell where we can see you. And then Krishna is going to tell, where you can see me, some of the potencies. Okay, so I'm never satiated for hearing. So what are the advantages of hearing Krishna's opulences? We have studied this in great detail in 7th chapter, verse 1. But hearing increases the remembrance and always think of Krishna. And we discussed this. Hearing increases our remembrance, and we think of Krishna and we speak what we think. It's automatic. And then we discussed this in detail in the Chatushloki, where Krishna is saying, Bodhayantas parasparam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. What is the verse? Their life is dedicated unto me. Mat chitta mat gata prana bodhayantas parasparam. What is the next line?
Kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha.
Very nice. So kathayantascha mam nityam. So mat chitta mat gata prana. So we talk about what we think and we think what we remember. This is linked. Over there, I discussed that Krishna says, Mat chitta mat gata prana. The life of my pure devotees dwell in me. Mat gata prana. They have given their life to me. Right? And when a pure devotee has given their life to Krishna, how do you know? Bodhayantascha parasparam. Because they have given their life, they're talking about Krishna. And we discussed that we talk about something which gives life to us on a day-to-day basis. When we are having conversation with each other or with ourselves, are we talking about something which is going to drain us? Are we looking forward to, I dread meetings at work. It's so draining, right? But I really like, okay, there's this Krishna conscious because it's so uplifting. So we have that choices, right? Subconscious choices or conscious choices. Understand that we are already making those choices at a very subtle level by choosing to speak what uplifts us. Now, depending on what mode of material nature we are in, that choice is going to be different. But because the devotee has given their life to Krishna, their words are given to Krishna, because that's where they get their life from. And then Kathayantascha mam nityam, they're actually always talking about me. And then tushyanti cha ramanti cha, they're very satisfied and they're very happy. So how can we talk about Krishna if we can't think of Krishna? And how can we think of Krishna if we don't remember Krishna? And the way to remember Krishna is to see Krishna everywhere. Thus, by remembering Krishna, one can relish great nectar. One is never satiated by hearing word Krishna. The material energy drains us. We get tired of talking. But in Krishna consciousness, we are seeing Sukhdev Goswami is reciting Bhagavatam Parikshit to Parikshit Maharaj, and none of them are getting up to drink water, break le lete hain. No, baithe, my legs are cranking. Or I'm hungry, or I'm tired. No, nothing like that we are seeing. Because talks about Krishna from the lotus mode of pure devotee is so mesmerizing. So what makes Arjun to hear more about details about all the pervading opulences of Krishna? He's already satisfied with understanding of Krishna and has no doubt about Krishna's position. But for the sake of common people, for the sake of a materialist, because a materialist can only believe in what they see. That's materialist, right? They make a list of material things. Or personal absorption, Arjun wants to know how shall he think of Krishna constantly and to taste the nectar. Okay, this is your question in Bhakti Shastri also, by the way. This is the answer. For the sake of common people, for the sake of materialists, for the sake of his absorption, and for the sake of tasting the nectar again and again. Krishna will describe most prominent of his opulences, which are limitless. So now Krishna speaks. Shri Bhagawanuvacha Hantate kathayishyami divya hi atma vibhudayaha pradhanan yataha kuru ksheshtra na asti anto vistarasya me. The Blessed Lord said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjun, for my opulences are limitless. So Krishna is going to tell us what we can perceive. And that is enough for us to understand. Prabhupada talks about it. Is it Nectar of Devotion? Where there's a list of 64 rules and regulations. Or Brahma Samhita, where there is a list of Radharani's qualities. One of the two places. Okay, I'm not remembering it correctly at this time, but Prabhupada says we can never understand Krishna completely. Never. But he tells us how much ever we need to know about him to become his devotee. So be happy in what is told right now. I think I have done this before in our earlier classes, but let's see. You can unmute yourself and follow my arrow, okay? So who is this? Who is this? We're going clockwise. Who is this?
Indra.
Very nice. It's Indra. Who is this with the Ganges coming? You have to unmute everyone.
Shivji.
Shiva.
Lord Shiva, right? Which of the mountain is on the back?
Kailash.
So opulence of Krishna is Meru. Okay. What is
Meru.
this? What is this? Which planet is this?
Moon.
Huh? Can't understand. Which planet is this, Sudarshan Prabhu? This is moon planet, no?
Yes, ma'am. I'm telling you,
Okay.
there's Chandraloka.
Which
Moon planet.
who is this? Which horse is this?
Uchchaishrava.
Utteshrava. What is this? Which syllable is this?
Om.
Om. What season is this? With is spring. Spring ki bol diya maine. This is spring. Who is this?
Ram.
Lord Ram.
Ram.
Lord Ram, yes. Who is this?
Buddha. Kapil Dev.
You're confusing me. Yeah, it is Kapil Dev. Very nice. Kapil Dev. Who is this?
Lord Brahma.
Yeah, Chaturmukhi Brahma. Who is this?
Narad Muni.
Narada Muni.
Very nice. Who is this? Which cow is this?
Kamadhenu.
Very nice. Who is this warrior in the Mahabharata?
Arjun.
Arjun. Who is this who has given us all the scriptures?
Vedavyas.
Veda.
Yes.
Yes.
Who is this? The bird going in front of
Garuda.
Garuda.
Who is this?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj. Who is this sitting on the peacock?
Ganda.
Kartikeya.
Karthikeya.
Who is this? The
Shark.
fish shark. Okay, who is this snake?
Vasuki or Ananta.
Vasuki. Who is this with the under the water with the rope? The Lord of Water. Varun.
Varuna.
Very nice. Who is this with the danda and the rope to punish the sinful living?
Yamaraj.
Which animal is this?
Lion.
Lion.
Who is this finance minister of the demigods?
Kubera.
Ved.
Who is this through whose navel Brahma is coming out?
Lord Vishnu.
Garbhodakashayi Vishnu.
Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Who is this? The Senapati of the demigods. He's like the Senapati. I'm also forgetting it now. Anyway, we'll come back to it. Who is this elephant?
Airavat.
Airavat. What mantra is this?
Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Who is Rupa Mataji here? She always tells me who this is. He is the oh my Krishna. He is the commander in chief of demigods. But I'm now forgetting his name. Maybe with
Indra.
Krishna. No, Indra is the one with the Vajra. Indra is the one with this. This is Indra sitting on top of Airavat. Okay, so now Krishna talks about his opulences like this. Of the Adityas and Vishnu, of light, sources of light, I have sun, like that. You can go over all this. I'm not going in detail. So somebody says, where is Hare Krishna Mahamantra mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? Where is Hare Krishna Mahamantra mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? Where is it mentioned? Huh? Oh, he Brahaspati. That chief is Brahaspati. No, Brahaspati is
Brahaspati is the
priest.
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 Kartikeya was the commander in chief, right?
General.
For the
Yeah.
Tirthas.
Correct, but that's not who that is. Tell me, where is Hare Krishna Mahamantra mentioned?
Mataji, Krishna says, right? Yajnanam japa yajnosmi.
Japo api yajna, very nice. So yajnanam japo api yajnas. So of all the yagyas, I am the chanting. Okay. So you can go over all this. I'm not going over all this. So we can see Krishna everywhere. Once we had a class by one senior devotee. I had invited her to say, exploring the quality of Krishna, the speech, fine speech as a quality of Krishna in women. And then, women have very fine speech. There's 7 qualities. Woman basically doesn't only mean woman. It basically means all living entities, because everyone is Prakriti and Krishna is only Purush, right? Like that. And then Gayatri, all the seasons. So basically, there is no place where there is no Krishna. And there are 82 opulences mentioned. So in the Vedic mantras, there is transcendental Om, there is chanting, and then there is Vedas, Samaveda. So I will share these slides. You can go over it just for understanding where Krishna is in our lives. And then he says, okay, furthermore, O Arjun, I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no being, moving or unmoving, that can exist without me. He has made it very clear that there is nothing that moves without Krishna moving or non-moving. Basically, it gives a lot of reassurance to a devotee that I am never without Krishna. Because for a devotee to be without Krishna is like a death. Right? So because there is Krishna everywhere, there is no death. That is one of the definition of deathlessness in Krishna consciousness. How is one deathless? Because we see there is death. Because death means without Krishna, no Krishna. But there is no place where there is no Krishna, so there is no death. Okay, so mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I've spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Because Krishna is so rich. We like to be associated with rich people, right? In the material world, I have seen so many times people say, oh, I know this person is so rich or so powerful. Yeah, or if you are one of those people, then people come to you and say, okay, we know you because you're this, you're that. Yes or no? Do we do that?
Definitely, Mataji, yes.
We want to be associated with somebody who has some standing in this material world in some way. But understand that this has been borrowed from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what it will be that if we are directly associated with the source of all these little tidbit powerful personalities. What Prabhupada says in one lecture, Nixon, he was talking about President Nixon. He said it is somebody feels so proud to be in the office of Mr. Nixon, But so somebody so proud of being a servant in the office of Mr. Nixon. Imagine how proud we will be who are actually servant in the office of Supreme Person, who is the source of that so many Nixons in the world. So yesterday I was hearing one lecture by Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj. He said we have a very famous book in our movement called Perfect Question, Perfect Answers. Yeah, you have read this book, Perfect Question, Perfect Answers? If you have not, you need to.
Yes, Mataji. I have
Perfect
given
question. Sudarshan Prabhu, your voice is breaking. I actually cannot understand what you're saying.
Yes, Mataji. I have read half book. I'm reading it now.
Perfect question, perfect answer, right? So he said there should be another book corollary to this. Imperfect questions, perfect answers. Because we ask imperfect questions. Right, like reporters were challenging Prabhupada. I think I spoke about it last time. One reporter asked Prabhupada, why is mortality rate so high in India? I was asking this to a sannyasi who's giving God consciousness. Why is mortality rate so high in India? What did Prabhupada say? Arey, we discussed it last week. You don't recall?
He said mortality is everywhere. It's the same percentage.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
Mataji.
that, yeah, you have to say it a little bit more passionately. Because he said mortality rate is same everywhere, 100%. So it's like imperfect questions, perfect answers. Another one he said, Maharaj was telling us, the Prabhupada, they have found out that human body is indeed a region, it is coming from monkey. There are few missing links here and there, but actually it is coming from the monkey. They have established it very nicely, the anthropologist and the archaeologist. But there are few missing links. So what did Prabhupada say? You don't remember the fun? Prabhupada said that there is only one missing link, and that is the distance between my foot and their face. Oh, you see, imperfect questions, perfect answers. So, so we can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead only through a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that pure devotee can give us this real proud. No, we have an ego. Just have a false ego right now, but we have a true ego also, okay? The true ego is this, that I'm so proud to be a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Krishna ends this verse, the second last verse of this chapter. Yadyad vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitam eva va tat tat eva gachatvam mam tejo amsha sambhavam. Know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creation spring from but a spark of my splendor. There's a spark of my splendor, like a spark, and not even like he doesn't have to like move or work a lot to make things happen. You just have to like say that or think, or I don't know. I don't even know how Krishna will do it. Maybe you have to ask him that let there be creation and there is creation. Let there be this and there is this. So, so all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. But the problem is that we are so much in forgetfulness that even though Krishna is shouting at the top of his lungs that he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that, we don't get so attracted. So what is the way to get attracted? Okay, once we can, this is called reverse, building a relationship in a reverse manner, the reverse psychology. Right? One way of building a relationship with someone is you explore that person's qualities, you explore that person's opulence, potencies, right? And then say, oh, and then you start liking that person. But in Krishna's case, it is reverse. Because he is telling us we are not exploring. So how do we do it then? How do we do it? Are you understanding my point? I'm talking about the practical application of this. In general, if somebody wants to like someone, even at their work, let's say if their boss or a mentor is very nice, or teacher is very nice, or in the family, somebody is very nice, we call very nice, whatever, then we make an endeavor to figure out what is their qualification. We stalk them on the internet. What are their publications? What are their experience? What are the reviews? You want to go to a doctor, you go to their website and check them out, right? Before you actually go meet them. Is it worth my time or not? So, but here, Krishna, this is what we are used to in material world. Okay. But in Krishna consciousness, it is reversed because Krishna is already telling us what he is. And now we are resistant to liking him. So how do we bridge the gap? Because we haven't really made much effort because he has now served his qualities in plate to us. Without. It's a very simple answer. Krishna, I'm not going to ask you something which you already don't know. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
What is the question actually?
Yeah, what is the question? Tell me. Yeah, who can tell the question? Nobody can tell the question? At least one person honest to ask what is the question. I am saying, you see, Krishna consciousness, we cannot understand by our experience in this world. Now, in 15th chapter, he says that Urdhva Moolam Adho Shakham Ashwatham Prahuravyam. There is a banyan tree which is upside down. So it's upside down. I am checking your understanding and your practical application. Something in material world. If we like to be associated with somebody who has some standing in their life, and you don't want to go and associate with somebody who has and on the care for somebody else, it's draining, right? So what do we do if we want to be associated with someone? We make an effort to know about that person. And I gave example that let's say that somebody has to go see a specialist, a doctor. They make an effort to find out. They go to their website and they find out, just 1 second. Sorry. So, if you want to go see a doctor, you are going to at least read about you're going to talk about them with somebody. You're going to read about their reviews. You're going to look at their educational qualification, right? You're going to find out which the hospital or clinic they're working. You're making an effort to figure out whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it. Yes or no?
Yes, Mataji.
So
Yes,
even
Mataji.
before you go meet that person, you already have some notion about that person.
Yep.
And now you can take it to your workplace. You can also take it to your family or friend circle, right? But in this particular instant, in this particular chapter, we have made no effort to know Krishna. Okay? Krishna has given us a list of all his qualities and opulences. Right? We haven't really like gone to the Meru mountain and seen that, oh, this is Krishna. Huh? Anybody has gone there? We have been drinking water since we are born, but we are not really like, we never thought Krishna is a taste of water. And we are taking all the certificates and good results, hanging it on our walls or publicizing our qualifications and not thinking that my ability is Krishna, right? Purusham Nisha, I am an ability in a man. We are not. But Krishna has spoon-fed us with his qualities. So we are not loving him because we have not made an effort. But we want to love him. So how are you going to do it? Because we are used to in one way of psychological liking to a person is I make an effort, but here we are not making an effort. So how do you do it? Is it clear or I'm still confused?
So basically the question is, how do we make an effort to love Krishna?
Correct, because qualities तो सारी बता दी भगवान ने कि मैं ये हूँ, मैं वो हूँ, ये हूँ. कैसे करोगे?
Mataji, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, one of the thing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the more we hear, the more we understand, and the more we can love anybody. So
Very nice. Okay, very nice. What else? This is one way. Very nice. Is the
Chanting
question
Mataji.
clear? Ambika Mataji, please go ahead.
Chanting the holy name.
Chanting the holy name. Okay, starts with that. Okay. Very nice. What else?
Hearing about Krishna. Actually.
Very nice. Hearing about Krishna. Very nice.
and the more we associate with devotees, Mataji, we
Very
understand more. And because they speak more and they have more realizations, like how we understanding from you, Mataji. So
So yes, that's one way. But you see, the human brain works most if we do it ourselves. right? So basically, yes, everything is, but the one word I was looking for is devotional service. That is why service is needed. You understand that what makes devotional service so important is because it is not going to happen if I'm not doing anything for Krishna on my own. Just by I'm sitting and somebody comes and tells me Krishna is so great, even Krishna himself is coming and telling us how great he is, we are still not going to get that level of realization unless and until we make a move towards him. Understood? Good night, understood. Next समाचार.
Mataji, so when you say
Understood.
devotional service, it can be like hearing, chanting, honoring prasadam, association with devotees, offering
All of those.
everything, doing physical
Yes.
seva.
Yes. Mhm.
Yes, okay. Yes, ma'am.
All of those, but not just one of those. You see, just by reading alone or just by even speaking, we will never be able to bridge a gap. It will be very difficult. I should not say never, but it will be very difficult to bridge a gap between what I really want to be internally and what I am becoming externally. So they could be like, I may be having this deep desire of becoming Krishna conscious, and okay, I'm going to read Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to talk about Krishna. I'm going to make these PowerPoint things. I'm going to conduct exam or take Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vaibhav or Bhakti Sarvabhaum, Bhakti Vedanta. But still, that particular element will not go where I really want to be like, okay, you know what? This material world is not such a bad place. Why don't I just go hang out? It's not going to happen. Unless and until we actually make a move and do something for Krishna in our own gross and subtle body. Okay, it's not going to happen. Krishna says this. What is that? What is that verse? In Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Madhya Leela. Let me see. So knowing what Krishna, let me see if I remember. Okay, I might not remember. Madhya Leela, chapter 17, verse 186. Let's see. Okay, don't quote me if I'm wrong. So this is Madhya Leela, yes, 186. Let's see. Where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling that where is the secret to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am right. Starko apratishta shutayo vibhinna nasha vrishir matam na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhaya mahajanaye nagatha sapantha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, dry arguments are inconclusive. Great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principle is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. And the Mahajanas have given us the path of devotional service. Otherwise, Prabhupada would have just given us books and you sit in your house and read. That is also good, but he made the whole program, the whole society. Okay, understand that is so important for my nurturing. So when we go to devotees, we actually go for our own self, much more than anything else. Okay, so this is the last verse. I'm going a little fast. Athava bahunetena kim gyatena tav Arjuna vishthabhyam idam kritsam ekam shena sthito jagat. But what need is there, Arjun, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. The single fragment of myself. So there's a little bit of discussion. What is this single fragment? I'm not going to tell. With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. So we don't put this universe means material world. So there are different versions of the answers, but one version which I like is, I'll tell you if you tell me what is your understanding. What is it? It is a single fragment.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna is Krishna is there in every the heart of every living entity as a super soul. So he is all pervading. So
Yeah,
there's
so
no
you're saying
to search for anything more.
very nice. So Prabhupada says is in the first line of the purport. Thank you. Super soul. Okay, which so Krishna has this particular verse glorifies which quality of Krishna? But what need is there, Arjun, for all this detailed knowledge? What quality of Krishna is glorified here? हमने opulences तो पढ़ लिया, right? Opulences is one glorification of what opulence or richness, all riches is one of the opulences of Krishna. Now, what opulence is glorified in this verse when Krishna is saying all this? It's so easy. You see, I was thinking today before class, my God, 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this class doesn't talk. And my Hindi girls, I left them February, they still talk. The group is still more active than this group. And they want to do Bhakti Vaibhav in Hindi Bhagavatam. I'm pushing them away. I can't do in Hindi. But I said, no, Mataji, we'll do in Hindi. Anyway, I guess when this class will be over, maybe there'll be some recollection that, oh, maybe it was not that bad. Tell me, what appearance of Krishna is glorified in this particular verse? Rasamai Mataji.
Strength, Mataji.
Strength, huh? How?
Just with a single fragment of Krishna, he has maintained all the universe, supported all the universe.
Okay, thank you. Not entirely correct, but thank you for speaking. Shiva Srinivas Prabhuji. Shiva Srinivas Prabhuji. Are, is it not renunciation? What need is there, Arjun, for all this detailed knowledge? I have it, but I also don't care about it. Renunciation.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. He's not attached. He's not identifying himself with all these things. He identifies, Krishna loves to identify himself with his pure devotees. He does not have a spirit of renunciation over there in that rasa. He loves it. Everything else, not so much. We see we have a pastime of Krishna so many times explaining this quality. When Krishna is with his 16,108 queens in Dwarka, in the morning he gets up right before sunrise. You have studied Krishna book, Prabhupada writes there. He gets up in the morning before sunrise to do his morning oblations and chant Gayatri. But his wife doesn't want him to get up. And the place is very comfortable. It's very like, and he's God. He doesn't need to, but he still gets up. Prabhupada explains that he's renounced. It's a sign of renunciation. But when he is with the devotees in Vrindavan, he just doesn't want to leave them. He just doesn't want to leave them at all. Because he loves to identify himself with his pure devotees. So if we want to attract the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we just have to become his devotee in, what is that, Ragatmika Bhakti, right? Following the footsteps of the devotees of Vrindavan. That is why they're so glorious, because they own Krishna. Nobody else owns Krishna. And Krishna doesn't want to exhibit his spirit of renunciation. Yes, Krishna left Vrindavan and went to Mathura and never returned. But did he actually leave? He actually never left because he was in Vipralamba Bhav. So Krishna present there. So basically, Krishna has shown his renunciation in all the opulent features or Ashwarya, but not in the heart of a pure devotee. Never. Okay, so this is the crux of the chapter. Supports and pervades entire universe by a mere fragment of himself. So conclusion is, from Krishna's potent energy, when the sun gets its power, and by Krishna's partial expansion, this whole world is maintained. Therefore, Krishna is worshipable. Chapter 10 explains how to concentrate mind in Krishna consciousness in full devotional service by hearing about different opulences and expansion of Krishna's energy. So when you go to your kitchen today, figure out what opulences are there of Krishna here, including your own. It also explains how to attain highest devotional perfection of the association with the Supreme Lord. Devotional service and worship of Krishna are explained in Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, which is so beautiful now, Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna's position as the origin of everything is explained in the first 7 verses. Then we studied very beautiful Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. And then Arjun concludes the chapter by reinforcing and also putting a request to Krishna that please tell us again. And there are 4 reasons what makes Arjun ask this again, which we discussed. Then Krishna speaks about his opulences for the pleasure of his devotee, but then he also exhibits the spirit of renunciation that there is no need for all this. I think we stop here. Any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections? From your book that you're studying. I think Anvaya Mataji said she had a question about the essay, but she's not here, so I don't know what to do.